Bandar Abbas, southern Iran. 0400 hours local time. The Persian Gulf breathes slowly under a low cloud ceiling, humid and heavy. 150 meters from the military pier, a black shape rises from the water without sound. 14 men, United States Navy SEALs. They have come to break the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps where it hurts most. Not in the mountains, not in the nuclear facilities, but in the arteries. The port. The logistics hub. The place where weapons movement stops if the pressure is applied correctly. The team knows what waits above. Concrete bunkers. Radar-guided cannons. Fast attack boats moored in defensive arcs. 300 IRG naval personnel on night rotation. And somewhere inside the Port Operations Center, a server room that handles every shipment report, every weapons transfer manifest, every supply convoy from Tehran to the Gulf Islands. If that server dies, the IRG Navy loses visibility for 72 hours. If that server dies, the Quds Force cannot resupply its forward units. If that server dies, the Strait of Hormuz becomes uncoordinated chaos. That is the mission objective. Not an assassination, not a firefight. A surgical collapse of digital command. At 0402, the first man reaches the seawall. At 0404, all 14 are over the wall. They move in 3 elements. Alpha, 4 men, heads toward the northern generator building. Bravo, 6 men, shadows the eastern container row toward the operations center. Charlie, 4 men, stays low along the western fuel depot, ready to cut the fiber line if the main assault goes loud. The port is awake, but not alert. Guards walk predictable routes. 15-minute patrol intervals. Thermal cameras sweep the water approach every 9 seconds. But the SEALs came from the south, through the shallows, under the camera arc. Now they are inside. Rubber-soled boots on wet concrete, night vision tubes amplify every photon. The world is green and black and silent, brazen and dangerous. At 0406, Alpha reaches the generator building. The lock is Russian-made, old, vulnerable. 30 seconds. The door opens. Inside, 3 diesel generators. 1 active, 1 standby, 1 cold. The team does not destroy them. That would send a plume of black smoke into the sky, a visual alarm for the whole port. Instead, Alpha places a magnetic induction coil on the fuel line of the active generator. It will fail in 90 minutes, quietly, without explosion. The backup generator receives a delayed circuit breaker interrupt. 30 minutes after the first failure, the backup will attempt to start and then die. The cold generator has a dead battery now. A simple cut. 3 quiet kills. The port will lose primary power at 0530. Bravo is already moving past row 7 of the container stacks. At 0409, Bravo halts. A guard, standing directly in their path, not walking. Stationary, smoking. The team drops prone. 6 men flat against the concrete, invisible in the shadow line between the containers. The guard exhales, turns his head, drops the cigarette, steps on it. He is 10 meters away. The point man, Senior Chief Reynolds, has a knife in his hand. Not because he wants to use it. Because he might have to. The guard shifts his weight, looks left, looks right, then walks away. Not toward Bravo. Toward the latrine building. The corridor is clear. Reynolds breathes, closes the knife, signals forward. At 0411, Bravo reaches the rear entrance of the Port Operations Center. 2-story concrete structure, no windows on the ground floor, only 1 steel door and a ventilation shaft on the roof. The door is alarmed, wired directly to the IRGC command post 500 meters north. If that door opens without the correct magnetic bypass, a siren triggers. The team already knew this. They have a digital bypass tool, a small box with 2 alligator clips. They attach it to the alarm circuit at 0413. The tool reads the encryption handshake, simulates the correct response. The light turns green. The door opens. Silence. Inside, a hallway. 20 meters long, 2 doors on the left, 2 on the right, stairs at the end leading up. The server room is on the 2nd floor, east side. Bravo moves fast, boots barely touching the floor. First door on the left, mechanical room, clear. Second door, storage, clear. First door on the right, empty office. Clear. Second door on the right, a break room with 2 IRG soldiers drinking tea at 0415. They look up. The world becomes violence. Reynolds fires 2 rounds from a suppressed MP7. 2 hits. Both soldiers drop before their hands reach their weapons. No alarm. No radio call. 1 teacup spins on the table, liquid spilling across a tactical manual. Bravo steps over the bodies and takes the stairs, 2 at a time. At 0417, they are on the 2nd floor. The server room door is reinforced steel with a digital keypad. Reynolds presses a small breaching charge against the lock mechanism, 1 ounce of C4. Shaped to direct the blast inward, the team stacks on the door, 6 men, weapons high. Reynolds signals 3, 2, 1. Breach. The crack is sharp but contained, like a thick book slamming on a table. The door swings open. Inside, the server room. Racks of blinking hardware. Cooling fans spinning. Fiber cables running from the floor to the ceiling. The IRC Navy data hub for the entire Eastern Gulf. Bravo moves in. 1 man secures the door. 2 men take positions at the windows overlooking the port. 3 men, including Reynolds, begin the data destruction. They do not shoot the servers. Bullets are unpredictable. Ricochets, shrapnel, noise. Instead, they use a portable high-density electromagnet. A military-grade degausser. Reynolds powers it on. The device hums, a deep, resonant vibration that grows louder as he holds it against the first server rack. Hard drives die instantly. Magnetic platters erased beyond recovery. Then the 2nd rack. Then the 3rd. At 0420, 23 servers have been wiped. The port's real-time shipping data is gone. The weapons movement logs are gone. The scheduled convoy routes, the ammunition storage manifests, the fuel distribution schedules, all gone. But the IRGC is not blind yet. At 0421, a radio transmission comes from the northern checkpoint. A patrol leader is asking the operations center for a cargo clearance code. No answer. He asks again at 0422. Still no answer. At 0423, he orders his men to move toward the operations center. Reynolds hears the transmission on the IRG tactical frequency. His team has been listening since they came over the wall. He knows they have maybe 3 minutes before the first patrol arrives. He signals Bravo to accelerate. The degausser hits 3 more racks. 41 servers dead. But the port has a backup server in the harbor master's building, 400 meters east. That backup syncs every 6 hours. The last sync was at 2300, 5 hours ago. If the IRG switches to the backup, they lose 5 hours of data but still have visibility. Reynolds cannot allow that. He calls Charlie. At 0424, Charlie Element is at the Western Fuel Depot. 4 men, waiting for the order. Reynolds gives it. Kill the fiber line between the operations center and the harbor master's building. Charlie moves fast. 2 men covering. 2 men running along the pipeline corridor. The fiber bundle runs through a concrete duct, easy to locate. The senior man, Petty Officer Torres, pulls a set of hydraulic cutters. He slices through the duct at 0425, exposing 12 fiber cables. He cuts every single one. No repair possible without a splicing kit, and the nearest splicing kit is in the main IRGC barracks 40 minutes away. The harbor master's building is blind. The backup server cannot receive new data, and the port cannot access the backup. The logistics collapse is now irreversible. At 0426, the first patrol reaches the operations center rear door. 3 men. They see the door is ajar. They see the bypass tool still attached to the alarm circuit. One of them reaches for his radio. Before he can speak, Reynolds' suppressed MP7 fires 3 rounds through the door crack. 3 hits. The patrol drops. But one of the fallen soldiers was holding a live microphone. The northern checkpoint hears the impact, not the gunfire. The sound of a body hitting concrete. They know something is wrong at 0427. The checkpoint leader sends 6 more men. Reynolds knows he cannot hold the operations center against a coordinated assault. He has 6 men in the server room, plus 4 from Charlie still cutting fibers 800 meters away, plus 4 from Alpha who just finished the generators. 14 men spread across a hostile port. The math is bad. At 0428, he orders all elements to collapse toward the extraction point on the southern seawall. But he has one last thing. The server room has a backup power unit, a battery bank that keeps the servers running if the main generators fail. Reynolds was going to leave it intact. Now he cannot. He pulls the pin on a thermite grenade, drops it into the battery compartment, and runs. The door closes behind him at 0430. 90 seconds later, the thermite ignites at 2000 degrees Celsius. The battery bank melts. The server room burns. The data is not just erased, it is ash. 0431. Bravo moves down the stairs. The bodies of the two soldiers from the break room are still on the floor. Reynolds steps over them without looking. At the bottom of the stairs, the hallway is empty, but the rear door leading outside shows movement, shadows, voices. The six-man patrol has arrived. Reynolds raises his hand. Bravo stops. The door opens from the outside. An IRGC squad leader steps through, weapon low, searching. He sees the bypass tool still attached to the alarm circuit on the wall. He turns his head toward the stairs. He sees Reynolds. For one full second, both men freeze. At 0432, Reynolds fires first. The squad leader drops. The 5 men behind him scatter, raising rifles, shouting. Bravo engages. Suppressed MP7s and HK-416. The hallway becomes a kill zone. 3 IRGC soldiers fall in the first 2 seconds. 2 more return fire. Bullets punching through the drywall, shattering the ceiling lights, glass raining down. Reynolds feels a round pass his helmet, close enough to hear the snap. He returns fire again. Double tap. Double tap. The last 2 IRGC soldiers fall at 0433. The hallway is smoke and dust and the smell of blood. Reynolds counts his men. 6. No casualties. But the gunfire was not suppressed enough. The northern checkpoint heard it clearly. So did the fast attack boats moored at the eastern pier. So did the IRGC barracks. The port is waking up. At 0434, Reynolds calls Alpha and Charlie. Abort extraction plan. We are compromised. Move to alternate point on the southern fuel jetty. Alpha acknowledges. Charlie acknowledges. Bravo exits the rear door and runs south, hugging the container walls, night vision flickering from the muzzle flashes still burning their retinas. Above them, searchlights turn on across the port. 300,000 lumens sweeping the container stacks, the roads, the piers. Bravo drops prone behind a row of shipping containers as a searchlight passes inches from their position. The light moves away. They run again. At 0436, they reach the fuel jetty. A narrow concrete finger extending 200 meters into the Gulf. Their extraction submersible vehicle is supposed to meet them here. It is not here yet. It is still 2 minutes out, still submerged, still running silent. Reynolds calls the exfil team on encrypted satellite. At 0438, the submersible surfaces at the end of the jetty. But the IRGC is faster than expected. At 0439, a patrol boat breaks from the eastern pier, engines screaming, twin machine guns already tracking. It sees the submersible. It opens fire. Rounds stitch across the water, hitting the sea, throwing up white columns. The submersible dives, but too slow. A round hits the hull, not penetrating but close. Reynolds knows that boat has to die or no one leaves. He signals Bravo to engage the patrol boat with suppressed weapons. It is a poor weapon for the job, subsonic rounds against a fiberglass hull. But they have no anti-armor weapons at this range. They fire anyway. Rounds punch holes in the patrol boat's superstructure. The gunner ducks. The boat swerves. At 0440, Charlie arrives at the jetty. 4 men, one carrying a captured RPG-7 from the fuel depot guard post. The IRGC uses the same weapon. Torres, the same man who cut the fiber lines, shoulders the RPG. He has never fired an RPG-7. He has trained on it, but never fired one live. He sights on the patrol boat 120 meters and pulls the trigger. The rocket flies straight. a bright orange streak in the darkness. It hits the patrol boat's engine compartment at 0441. The explosion splits the boat in half. Burning fuel spreads across the water, a wall of fire between the jetty and the IRGC reinforcements. At 0442, the submersible surfaces again, damaged but operational. The team piles in. Alpha arrives last, 4 men running through the burning fuel slick, jumping over flames, boots hitting the deck of the submersible as it begins to dive. The hatch closes at 0443. Saltwater covers the viewports. The Gulf is dark again. Above them, Bandar Abbas burns with anger. Searchlights scanning empty water, patrol boats circling the burning wreckage of their own vessel. The IRGC Navy has lost its logistics command. Data restored from backup? Impossible. The harbor master's building is blind. The fiber lines are cut. The server room is a melted tomb of erased hard drives. At 0530, the generators will fail, and the port will go dark. At 0531, the backup generator will attempt to start and fail. At 0532, the port will have no power, no data, no command, no coordination. For 72 hours, every IRGC naval operation in the Eastern Gulf will be flying blind. Shipments will be delayed. Weapons will sit on docks. Patrol routes will be guesswork. The Quds force will have no logistics picture. And somewhere in the dark water of the Persian Gulf, 14 men breathe compressed air, equalize their ears, and disappear into the abyss. The mission is complete. The port is broken. And the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will spend the next 3 days trying to figure out how the hell it happened.